Good evening, everyone out there, and welcome to the next event of our mainstream racing series. This is race 16 of the ongoing season. Tonight on YouTube, I'm Seb Bauer. Glad you're with us for once again an action-packed race, I would like to say already in advance. We have seen some great races in this season already in the mainstream racing series, and we are officially heading into the last quarter of the season. With tonight included, we have 6 races left in this season. 6 races to decide the ongoing battles, 6 races to decide the Drivers' Championship, of course. And for tonight, we head to a place where racing at this time of a year is actually more or less impossible. Tonight we are in the home of British motor racing in Silverstone. So, as all of you out there, the regular MRS fans already know, here's the rule settings that we tend to use, that we always use in this season. That is a 18 minutes qualifying, followed by a 50% race. That is, as I think, around about 23 or 24 laps here in Silverstone. We see equal car performances, of course. Collisions and safety cars are set to on. Likewise, the full vehicle damage, whether it's dynamic, that is a topic every once in a while in Silverstone, as we all know. Regular corner cutting, and the assists. We have to have manual race starts. We have the pit assists off, both, so as well as coming in as the pit release assist, both of them are set to off. A manual gearbox, maximally medium traction control, all of that is on or possible to on. We will go to Silverstone as mentioned, and yeah, one very historic track, the birthplace, more or less, of the modern Formula 1. The track has been rebuilt a few times, and this is the track we run on for already a few years now. It is said to be an easy track, but yeah, more or less easy. The lap record, there's a little update from this year because the 127 is outdated. The new lap record is a 127.0 by Max Verstappen in this year, 2020. The track is approximately 5.6 kilometers of length, features 18 turns, more or less all of them with names, so not just T1, T2, T3, so a lot of unique turns, names for them, and features place for around about 150,000 people in the virtual stands, so at least virtual if there is no real life audience, of course. The lobby is not entirely full yet. I doubt that we will see a 20-man grid tonight. This would be a 3rd time in a row, but yeah, it's just Christmas times and life is busy. Christmas, Crimbo, Covidmas, however you want to call it, is over. We are in a phase that we Germans tend to say between the years, and everyone takes a break except the MRS, as our Racing Wednesdays are not a problem, not problematic with the holiday season in this year. Let's have a look about the lobby. We are 13 drivers now. The last races we've been 16, 17 guys. I hope that maybe one or two are still able to join. We see our host David Lawson, of course, and Simo is there. Dominic Walsh is there. That's me. And sadly, no. There he is, Thomas Walsh. So all of our 3 championship contenders are online. We will have a close eye on that in just a bit. Further, we see Scuba, the race winner from last week. Grimo is back again. Good evening to you. Mike Taylor is there, Andrew Mont, Nico Caruso, the Rockstar, Jarne Vandebril I already saw. Still missing, sadly, is Leonard Cam, who is still recovering from a back surgery, from some back trouble, so still, or again, all the best to you and a speedy recovery. And the session timer has started to tick down, so sadly we will not have a full grid again. 13 drivers have checked in. It's not that much, but it will be enough for a great race event. So here we are in the pit lane of Silverstone, the rebuilt, the new pit lane, and it's officially just 13 drivers, but that's not a problem. That gives us a lot of time to focus on those 13 guys that are here online today. The first drivers leaving their garages. One of them was a Ferrari, either Scuba or Simo. Gary, the first one that is ruled on the track. And the first Ferrari then probably was Simo, there he is, who, just as always, I would like to say, tries his first hot lap on medium tires. Let's get in some more information about what's going on. So, the last race in Bahrain was once again a great one, a really action-packed race. Everything looked like a double victory for Ferrari, but then in the last turn Simo committed a big mistake, actually the only mistake for him in the whole race, and he didn't throw away the race entirely but lost 2 places, so the race win was granted to Scuba. That was a big surprise, but definitely totally deserved for him. He did not commit a real mistake in the whole race. In all the 3 safety car phases, he opted for the right choice every single time, and so Scuba Stephen Hodges was able to celebrate his first MRS race victory, and Simo finished in P4. That altogether gave Ferrari the Constructors' Championship lead. They are up by 10 points now over Williams, the team of Dominic Walsh. Not of Stefan Williams. We have a person called Williams. He's even here today, but he does not drive for the Williams. Simo committed a little bit of a mistake there, a bit of gravel, and so this hot lap might not be the real hottest, as we have already spoken about Bahrain. Let's have a look at Scuba. That was something looking a bit weird when jumping to him. No, everyone is going in a straight way. Yes. Yeah, Scuba, there he is. He is trying his first hot lap on softs. There he is, just starting his hot lap. Now he's on the old start-finish straight, so he's roundabout in the middle of the track, coming towards the end of Sector 2. Yeah, I mentioned it, Scuba, the surprise winner of Bahrain, but definitely deserved it. And I was talking to him after the race was over, and of course he was really very happy about it, and he committed that he always has some good results in the races if there is a bit of space between the track and walls. So if the track, if you can commit easy small little mistakes, he didn't commit any, but still he won the race. And here he starts his hot lap, and already through Abbey here into farm. Let's stay with him for the first lap. Let's get familiarized with the lap a bit, as he's here in the Chapel and Maggots turn combination into the first DRS zone here. The village straight coming up to Brooklands and the Love Field. This is right at the end of Sector 1, beginning of Sector 2. Very hard here to accelerate the right way, not to get into the gravel through Woodcote, and the legendary Cops turn right here. Flat out right-hander taking full throttle, and then in the legendary S's, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and right at the end of Chapel here, the second DRS zone, the Hunger Straight. The last part that reminds us that Silverstone once was a just a moment. Let's focus on the end of his lap here in Stowe Vale, and the last right-hander, that's called Club. And here he is through the first lap. Oh, good lap. P2 for him. P2 for him. 1 second almost behind his teammate. Yes, very well done from Stephen Hodges. We get a lot of times now. Let's have a look who has maybe tried on mediums. That is, the 2 big championship contenders. It's Simo and Dominic Walsh. Both tried on mediums, and not bad. And Mike Taylor, Jare Vandebiel, and Defak, who joined us late. All of those are on mediums, but they will probably have to try again afterwards. And Mirko Caruso, Rockstar, pushing him into P2. Well done for him. He tonight is racing in his new team, the McLaren car. He's sadly the only McLaren who has checked in, so it's about him to get some points on the constructors standings. So yeah, one thing I should talk about is our overall standings. I cannot depict it to you due to the PlayStation menu, but I will just run it down for you with the Grand Prix in Bahrain. That is, by the way, still rewatchable on my YouTube channel if you want. Just tune in. We have seen Simo finishing in P4, while Dominic Walsh finished in P2. That means that the two main rivals for the championship are very close to each other, quite packed. Simo has piled up 239 points, Dominic Walsh just 5 points behind him, so very close here in the end of the season. There's Dom Walsh in his Williams. And in P3 then, his brother Tom Walsh, who had good points finishes lately, but was more or less unable to really beat his both rivals. Tom Walsh is 26 points behind the leader Simo, and that means for Tom Walsh today, it's a more or less a do or die weekend, a do or die racing weekend for him to stay alive or just accept to finish in P3. There is actually no pressure from behind because in P4 it's Mike Taylor with 95 points, so around about 120 points behind Tom Walsh and 144 points behind the leader Simo. Yeah, and Mike Taylor sees himself in a threesome battle for P4. With his 95 points, he is equal to P5, the Monster. Here he is in his Red Bull, Andrew Mont, sometimes called a monster, sometimes a modster, but always a monster. And yes, Mike Taylor and Monster are level on points, both have 95 points. And in P6 then Stefan Williams with 85 points. There he is in his Alpha Tauri. So Stefan Williams is 10 points behind Monster and Taylor, battling for P4. Then a little gap and another threesome battle for P7. That is David Lawson, our host, who sadly has checked out. I hope he can be able to rejoin. And David Lawson in P7. Then in P8, Leonard Cam, who, as I mentioned it, sadly is still inactive due to some back surgery. Again, all the best and a speedy recovery for you. And in P9, then battling for P7 is Jarne van de Briel. That is very interesting. Van de Briel here in P10 right now on a hot lap and improving himself by 3.5 tenths. The interesting thing about Jarne van de Briel is that he just joined the league roundabout midway through the season, and in just half a season he piled up enough points to be battling with Lennartcam and Lawson. And at the end of Sector 2 he's already 1 second faster than in his previous hot lap, and with -1 second he should probably finish somewhere at the area of Scuba or Stefan Williams, so P5, P6 roundabout. And let's see where the clock will stop for him. In P5, jumping over Scuba and Williams. P5 with 8 tenths roundabout, still lacking on Zemo. So we are already more or less halfway through, even more than halfway through the qualifying. Time flies, just feels like that to me here in this 18 minutes qualifying. We will soon enter the hectic last few minutes of the qualifying. And yeah, I just found out the reason why David Lawson is grey at the moment, because Christmas time brought him a new wheel and a new racing seat, and he told me, or told us in the whole group, in the whole group, that he was training on it, but it seems like he is too unfamiliar with that, and seems like he is unable to run the race on it, so he is getting back to the PlayStation controller. Hopefully he can do that fast enough. And while I have a look in the group, greetings to the grid and to the world from Ryan Price. Pricey, as we know him, who might not be able to run again in the MRS. I sincerely hope that you can sort things out and will rejoin to a later moment, or maybe to the next season. Yeah, and while I was having a look in the group chats, giving you some background information, our rockstar has taken the lead. Mirko Caruso, well done for him. He's one of the guys I was talking to over the week likewise, and he is not by accident called a rockstar, or didn't give him the name accidentally. He is something like a rockstar. He is a music creator, and just shortly before Christmas released his new single, his new track called Mover. If you're interested, just check it out on Spotify. Google or search on Spotify for Mirko Caruso, both written with C, like the Swiss-Italian language he speaks. Yeah, and look for the track called Mover. And that all moved us into the final 3 minutes of the qualifying with, yeah, who is in a pole run? Who is in the competition for the prime spot on the starting grid? Is it Mirko Caruso? Maybe he is standing on the pole right now, but Simo will probably improve his time, as he has opted to run on softs now. The time he posted, the time that gave him P2, was set on mediums, so let's stay with him for the moment and let's see what he is able to do here. In the first sector, the sector with the majority of slow and technical turns, here through Farm Chapel, Maggots, Wellington Strait. This is not a hot lap. This is not a hot lap. 1.3 seconds behind, so maybe he committed a mistake already early and decided to abort, or maybe, hopefully, he might have enough of gasoline with him to try another hot lap, so that he has 2 in laps, so to speak, or 2 out laps, 2 warm up laps. Let's see what he will do. Who else is in the pole discussion? Of course, Dominic Walsh, maybe even Grimo. Grimo is already on a hot lap, so let's maybe stay with him for a moment. No, does not seem too hot. So even though the game doesn't say he's on a hot lap, but he's not on a hot lap anyway. Maybe Stephen Hodgetts on a hot lap? No, he's not. He is not. Let's have a short look through the field. Maybe the game just doesn't say a few guys are on an outlap as they actually are. Nico Caruso, by the way, the pole sitter at the moment, did not go out again. He's in the pits and will not be able to run again, so he thinks he's not able to improve himself. Likewise, to Jarne van de Briel, not on an improvement. He's maximally in P8 and he's probably going to stay that. We will find out about that in just a moment, and then we will focus on the other guys who are in the pole race. Jarne van de Briel does not improve himself, will stay maximally in P8. What does Thomas Walsh do? Slight improvement, but really just slight. And yeah, I mentioned it already, there's a lot of pressure on him, if he wants to stay in the championship discussion. He needs to win against both of his competitors here today. End of sector 2 right here. And 4/10 of improvement. Scuba is through, Grimo is through, no improvements for them. After Tom Walsh we will jump to his brother Tom Walsh. Simo is through, Simo the pole sitter. And Thomas Walsh will be in P3 as Tom Walsh in P2, Dominic Walsh posting another hot lap, being faster than his brother, but not as fast as Simo. Dominic Walsh 100ths of a thousand faster than Nico Caruso. And yeah, we rather have our starting grid. Congratulations once again to our pole setter Peter Simo Simpson. So here is our starting grid. There is Simo in the pole, then Dominic Walsh in P2, our both top contenders for the championship in the first row. Mirko Caruso, great result for him in 3, Thomas Walsh in 4, Grimo in 5, Scuba 6, Stefan Williams in 7, Jarne van de Briel, bit of a disappointment in P8, Mike Taylor in 9, Defak in 10, 11, Andrew Mond, 12, Mercyman, 13, then no time set for David Lawson and Gary. So the final seconds before our race will start. Every driver is going to load his setup into the game, or the little possible changes in the end. I will step aside for a moment and we'll be back for the race. So here we are in the installation lab. We will have 26 laps, and let's get in all the information we will need. First look always, of course, about the tires that are used. The top 10 have to use the tires that they qualified on, and everyone else, so P11 to 14, have the free choice of tires. The game suggests a soft to medium one-stop tire strategy. Let's see how all of that will go down the wire in the end. Only Defug and Monster will start on mediums, rest of the grid on softs, while we see Simo rather flying through the installation lab. And for the race start, of course, let's have a look at the positions changed. With 14 drivers, it is rather likely we will see everyone getting points granted in the end. While the Amazon Web Services presented us the tire strategy, it's actually not really a big strategy. One stop, soft to medium or soft to hard. For those who start on mediums, then probably a stop to hards, or if they can make them last long, a late stop onto softs. If, I say if, there is no safety car action going on, and yeah, well, I doubt that. So I think that there will be some safety car action, and yeah, Simo is already in his starting box while the rest of the grid is forming up. So that's a bit of poor angle. This one is better. The five red lights of Silverstone are on, and the race, here we go. Good start for Simo and Dom Walsh likewise. And Simo stays in front of his main contender. Then an attack from Tom Walsh on Mirko Caruso, but everything rather stayed the way it was. Rather clean start everywhere on the grid. Everywhere came away smoothly. No big issues. Maybe for Monster, who's in last. And I think there's end plates missing for Monster, so he will have to have an early pit stop. Likewise to Gary, both have injured noses. And on the front rows, more or less everything stayed the way it was. A little bit of ups and downs. +2 for Scuba, +4 for Mike Taylor. Taylor, what a great start for him. Grimo lost a position. Thomas Walsh lost 6 positions. Oh. I mentioned it already a few times. He is under pressure here on his home race. Actually, it's a home race for everyone, I think, except Vanderbilt and Caruso. And first hot lap goes to Simo, fastest lap of the race. And Monster in the pits. Gary will be there too likely soon. The table is confused again. That's just usual, one of the little bugs this game has. So we will see an update, the actual real table at the end of this lap. Dominic Walsh is close. Dom Walsh is close to his rival. So yeah, the big fight. This race will decide if it's a rival, a duel, or if it's going to be a threesome towards the last races. And Simo has troubles. That's just what I wanted to say right now, because Simo is the definitely fastest driver in the whole grid, has shown an impossible pace and stellar performances, but the big but is that Simo does commit mistakes. Dominic Walsh is a little bit slower than Simo overall, I would like to say. But he is in P2 because he was able, or at least better able, to stay out of troubles. And he stays rather close to Simo. The DRS is open, DRS is activated right now, and Simo was unable to shake off his main rival, while Scuba has lost a position, or maybe two now, against Jarne van de Bril. The two Haas battling it out, Defak and Grimo. I think there was a little bit of a touch, and Defak maybe hurt his front wing with that. Yes, there is an end plate missing. Yeah, and there we see Defak with his half intact nose or half broken nose does have serious trouble here in the fast turns, the fast S's. Both have DRS activated, but this should easily go for Thomas Walsh to get past the Haas. Let's see if Defak will go to the pits. No, not yet. Not yet. And Stefan Williams is close too. So here we have some threesome fighting group. A bit of yellow insected too. I think it was Gary. And no attack for Williams, no attack for Tom Walsh. And Tom Walsh needs to get past Defak as fast and as soon as possible. He needs to make up positions, he needs to make up places and points. He needs to win the race if he wants to stay in the championship run. He just cannot be impeded and holding up here by a Haas. Both of them take the turn wide, and this causes trouble for him. Stefan Williams jumps ahead. Stefan Williams in the Alpha Tauri just takes advantage of the mistake by Tom Walsh, and instead of crawling through the field, up the field, Tom Walsh even lost the position. And while all that is happening, oh, Tom Walsh to the pits. That's early. Interesting. That is early. We will have to have an eye on what tires he will be running on afterwards. While that is happening, Tom Walsh and Simo have exchanged fastest race hot laps, fastest laps of the race. One Simo, the last one goes to Dominic Walsh, and Tom Walsh, yeah, he stays in the DRS window, but seems like he's unable to attack. And maybe he doesn't even have to attack him. As I mentioned earlier, Simo does tend to commit mistakes every once in a while, so maybe it is enough for Dominic Walsh to just keep up the pressure, and Simo will hand him the lead. Maybe we will see. We will have to find out. Tom Walsh, as I mentioned, was in the pits, and he has opted for hard, so he will he be able to run through? I'm not sure. That's a really long race then. And here in lap 5 we will already see the first time Gary is lapped here. So until the first safety car phase, Gary will be down a lap, and our two championship contenders are really running away from everyone. Mikko Caruso already over 4 seconds behind them. 4 seconds in 5 laps. That's really a lot. And let's see what Scuba is doing. He's close to Jarne Vandebril. Bit of a fighting group here. Mike Taylor in 4, Jarne Vandebril in 5, Scuba 6, and then 3 seconds on Grimo. So no pressure from behind on Scuba. And while he would rather like to deal out some pressure, all of them are in the DRS zone of the one ahead, but too far away to really attack. But the good thing is they are distant enough from each other to not have dirty air in the middle sector and this fast turns here. The RS opened up, yep it is. And the Hangar Straight will squeeze the group together a bit, but no possibility to attack for anyone. There is an attack on Hangar Straight, or after Hangar Straight, from Stefan Williams against Defak, who is running on his yellows. He is probably still running on his damaged front wing as he didn't have a pit stop yet, so especially in the fast turns of Sector 2 this will be a huge advantage for Williams. Maybe already here, DRS zone coming up. And attack here on the inside. This should work. Oh, Defak is still there. But in the end it worked. Yes, let's have a look. Let's have a look of our threesome battle group here, just one lap later, still on the same place here in the middle sector. Again, everyone close enough for DRS but far away enough for some clean air. Scuba now rather closer to Vandebril than he is, ahead on Taylor. Oh, we had some yellow, and there is a Haas in troubles. That's Defak, who already had a damaged front wing. He has troubles to accelerate again. I suppose that his rear tires are heated and will probably go to the box pits now. No, he does not. Interesting. He did not opt to get new tires. Oh, he's out. Okay. Defak has opted to abort the race. That's a bit sad for him. The first DNF in lap 8. And that will hand out P10 to David Loss. And I'm actually not really sure if Defak really stepped out of his car, really DNF'd, or just having some connection issues and he might be able to return. So he's still in the race for at least a point, maybe even more, as soon as we see a safety car face. Now we have the first DNF. That's Gary. Gary is out somewhere in the middle sector. Yes, David Lawson, our host, who has gone back to the controller. The gamepad is now in P10. At least a point for him, you could say. And yeah, while we have been in the lower ranks, let's have a look back in our midfield fighting group. The threesome of Jarne Vandebril overtook Mike Taylor. Jarne Vandebril ahead of Mike Taylor. So there's been some action. Sadly, of course, as you all know, there is no replay option for for live streams. And Scuba had a little bit of mistake when accelerating, and that's the reason why he is out of the DRS window. Mike Taylor trying to counter Van de Bril and get back his P4. No DRS, of course, for Jane Van de Bril. Mike Taylor's rear wing is opened up, but no chance for an attack. Getting closer to him, but not next to him. And Dominic Walsh in the pits. Dominic Walsh tries the undercut against Seymour. Walsh has lost a bit of time lately, dropped out of the DRS zone and maybe tries to have an advantage, getting back into the DRS zone with the earlier pit stop. Has opted for mediums, it's rather long for him. And his undercut will only work if he can rejoin the track while not getting impeded, and that looks quite good. 5.8 seconds behind Stefan Williams, so he should have a few laps of no traffic ahead. And while we see Mike Taylor still battling Jarne Van de Bril, Scuba has dropped back even further, 2 seconds now behind. Let's have a look what our leader will do now. Peter Simpson. Pit entry will come up right here, and he goes to the pits likewise. So he tries to limit the undercut from Dom Walsh to only 1 lap. Walsh was behind Seymour right about 2 seconds. And let's see where both of them will be after their each stops. We've been stuck a bit. And Seymour, here's the pit exit, and there's no Dom Walsh in sight. So Seymour has stayed in front, not even stayed in front, but even increased his gap by a few tenths. So the undercut from Walsh did not work. We've seen a few pit stops right now. Seymour, Dom Walsh already done it, likewise to Mirko Caruso. Mike Taylor, Scuba and Stefan Williams. Defuck likewise, last position. Defuck will go through on his hards. Let's see if our new leader Jarne Van de Bril will pit right now too. Van de Bril battling for P4. If he can make up a few seconds, maybe even in a podium discussion. Virtually in P3 sitting is Mirko Caruso, the rock star, who has just overtaken Mercy Man on the Hangar Straight. Seymour back to the lead. Jarne Van de Bril, mediums. Grimo behind, mediums. Mercy Man. I think he picked up a penalty while coming into the pit lane too fast, speeding in the pit lane. And mediums likewise, so the dominating strategy is a red too soft 1 stop here. David Lawson getting a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in the pit lane likewise. Both have been a bit too aggressive when entering the pit lane. Monster probably 2, here he is in P11, still running on his old softs. Already had a stop very early. Andrew Mont, who told us in the chat that he loves the track, but seems like this does not convert into a good race, at least not in the first half. But it's not over yet. It's not over yet. So everything back like it was before. Peter Simpson in the lead. 5 seconds now already in front of Dominic Walsh. So it seems like Walsh is not able to compete on the lap times on the medium tires. Then we see Mirko Caruso in P3 and Jarne Vanderbilt in P4. I would like to say they will battle out the podium, but it does not look like a battle. While Mike Taylor attacks Jarne Vanderbilt and is through for the moment. So Jarne Vanderbilt is rather under attack and not able to go ahead and attack the podium. It's rather that he's fighting for P4 here. Scuba then in P6, Grimo in 7, Stefan Williams is close to Grimo, to midfielders here in the S's. Oh, Grimo, a bit of sliding, but Williams seems not to be able to convert that into an attack on the Hunger Straight. This three-man group might turn into a threesome battle again for P6. P6 Scuba, 7 Grimo, 8 Stefan Williams. Grimo and Williams do have DRS, while Scuba is the only one who is not allowed to open his rear wing on the long straights. So this is a group we have to watch. Likewise to the battle, Taylor against Vanderbilt. Oh, he was close here at the end of Wellington. Some yellow ahead of them. There's some blue car next to the track. I suppose that was Andrew Mont. Yellow coming up right here. Oh yes, there was a Red Bull Monster in last position now. But Vanderbilt not able to attack. What does our threesome do? Williams against Grimo, who looked like he wanted to cut to the insides, but oh, and now he has crashed into Grimo, and Grimo has spun. Oh, I was just wanted to say that Williams just aborted his attack. That was just too fast. Then he did it in the second turn, and Williams has a damaged front wing. We saw the debris flying off, and he was right after the pit entry, so he could not go to the pits and get himself a new nose right there. And Monster next to the track again, so probably he has heated tires and therefore was unable to stay on the track. As I said, though he loves his home race, his home track, but he does not seem to be too successful on it. Hope he will stay with us and not step out of the car. And we've seen another attack here. Grimo again in front of Stefan Williams. I suppose that the Alpha Tauri will need a pit stop here and get himself a new nose. He'll not be able to post good lap times. Yes, he's off to the pits, getting himself a new nose. He will still be in a points finish probably, but now has picked up a penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Yeah, Williams a bit too aggressive here and definitely did not pay off. Yo, Thomas Walsh now in P8. Williams going back to the softs, giving him the faster lap times. 9P10. Mercyman has passed him. There's a big gap, over a minute to David Lawson, so P10 should be rather safe. If there is no safety car, and this might come up now, it is a safety car! Safety car! Mercyman has spun. Mercyman in a weird position there. David Lawson is out somewhere here. Ooh, what is going on here? David Lawson has already checked out. I suppose we will not see him anymore. Not a good day on his home race. So what will happen now? What will happen now? We see Dominic Walsh into the pits, getting himself fresh reds. Rockstar Caruso does so too, but Simo did not. I suppose that Simo was already past the pit entry. Scuba plus 5 seconds, speeding in the pit lane. A lot of pit stops now. Walsh on softs, Rockstar softs, Scuba probably too. Behind him Grimo in. Thomas Walsh now in. So the field will be very close again, and this will be a disadvantage for Simo Taylor Van de Bril. Let's have a look what Simo does. Oh, he's already behind the safety car. I wanted to say, if he can have a quick lap now, he might be able to get into the pits early enough to still change the tires, but Bernd Mailänder caught him already very early. So if Simo will go into the pits now, he will lose the lead. And will, yeah. If he goes into the pits now, he will be last, and if he will not, he will be chewed up by the others. And he does not. Simo stays out. Simo will finish the race on his already a few laps old softs. Jarne Van de Bril and Mike Taylor came into the pits, so we will have to have an eye on the comparison from Simo to Van de Bril in the end. Which option in this moment was the better one? Staying out or changing back to fresh softs? Yeah, they will lose a lot of positions, Taylor and Van de Bril. The pit lane is so damn long here in Silverstone. Are they really in P4 and 5? Can hardly believe that. Well, if they should really be in P4 or P5, this would mean that they didn't lose really much, and then the mistake by Simo is even bigger, because he's not in last if he has opted to change his tires too. This will be an interesting last third of the race. This will be, sorry if I say so, but great as always. Great as always here in our mainstream racing series. And the top group is already behind the safety cars. Scuba and the rest are still catching up for the moment. Let's have a short look about the penalties. We see 3 times a +5 seconds for Scuba, Mercyman and Stefan Williams. All of that due to speeding in the pit lane. And we see Defug in 11 and Monster in 12. They seem to be very, very far away from the rest of the field, and that could mean this might cause an additional safety car lap. So let's see where they are. Monster here on the hangar straight. Ah no, Defug is behind Thomas Walsh. There might be some pit stop here that causes a bit of confusion on the table. Well, the +1 minute 50 on Defug is not true, of course. Just the gap of Monster to behind. That is the right call. Yeah, anyway, the last one is... there is one orange dot on the track map. Who's that? Mercyman. Mercyman. Table is not updated. Mercyman in last position, who will go on fresh mediums to the end. So yeah, the field will be together at the end of this lap, or midway through this lap. So probably the race officials, race stewards, will decide to get the safety car in this lap. We will find out about that in just a few seconds at the end of Sector 2. The field is together now, so it should be possible to get back to green condition very soon, and then start in the last 7 laps, the last third of the race, the deciding 7 laps of the race. Yes, safety car in this lap. So in the last sector here, Simo dictates the pace. To some time he will pick the pace up, and there is no overtaking of cars before the timing line on the start-finish straight. He will try to shake off Dom Walsh and Rockstar. Maybe let's stay with him on his TV pod for the restart. Simo, when does he surprise Walsh? When will he try to surprise Walsh? Now he does! He picks up the pace and we are back to green. And Simo will have to defend his P1 already in the first turn. And Simo will have a really hard race here in the end on his used mediums, being under attack by a lot of guys on fresh reds right behind him, and Dominic Walsh is close. Here Dominic Walsh wants to jump ahead as soon as possible here in the slipstream. Not yet, but the AS is not activated, of course. That will still come up, and the advantage of Dom Walsh over his prime rival will be even bigger then. And he has to watch out a bit, because Mikko Caruso is close to Mikko Caruso, now even closer to Walsh than Walsh is on Simo. A bit of a slide here from Rockstar. But right in these turns, the advantage of the fresh red tires compared to the used mediums of Simo is incredible big. So the first lap without the RS, and Dominic Walsh has picked up a +3 seconds penalty. That in the end could be the reason that saves Simo, because even if Walsh overtakes Simo, he still needs to run away by 3 or more seconds. And as the field is so close at the moment, still, maybe for Dominic Walsh, even the podium is in danger here right now. So do we see DRS yet? We do not, I think not yet. We see a lot of guys fighting as they are close together. Tom Walsh in 7 now. That's his best position since we started the race, but still a lot worse than he would need to be in a championship run or keep his chances alive. What does our top group do? Here we see Jarne van de Briel behind Mike Taylor. DRS is closed. He was out of the 1 second window in the detection. Rockstar is on the edge of the DRS window of Dom Walsh, and Dom Walsh himself is inside the window but rather far away. He's not able to attack Seymour. Now DRS is enabled, so we did not see DRS attacks yet. And here we are in the last 5 laps of this race, and this will be another great finish, just as great as the last races have been. Our top main contenders, our top duel for the championship, battling it out here for the win and for the lead in the overall standings. Who wins this race is the new leader, new or old leader, in case it's Seymour. And these 2 teams are, by the way, the teams that dominate the Constructor Championship 2. Ferrari in 1, Williams in 2. Williams 10 points behind Ferrari. But as there is no second Williams with Leonard Cam sidelined, Dominic Walsh is the only one who can score points for Williams. But let's focus on the Driver Championship. Hanger straight, and Walsh zooms close to Seymour but is not able to attack him. He does not have a lot of time left, just 4 laps now, exactly 4 laps here right now at the moment. And he does not only have to overtake him, he has to run away by 3 seconds too, in case Seymour does not commit a mistake or pick up a penalty too. And I told you guys already earlier, Seymour does commit mistakes every once in a while. Last race he just threw away the podium in the last turn, the last possible position to make a mistake, and he did it and dropped from P2 to P4. Yeah, Mirko Caruso is not able to follow them, so Caruso will maximally be in P3 if he cannot stay within the 3 seconds of Dom Walsh, 2.5 seconds already behind him. And Mike Taylor is close to Caruso, but not in a position to attack likewise. Maybe Van de Briel will do. Van de Briel 3/10 behind Taylor. Close at the end of Hanger, but not able to attack likewise. So we are in the last 3 plus this laps now. And well, I think for the victory, if Seymour doesn't commit a mistake, he should be rather safe because of the plus 3 seconds for Dom Walsh. The action is going on here. So this threesome attack from Van de Briel, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. He was too far away and will drop He will lose a lot of positions now. Scuba and Tom Walsh slip through. Did he pick up damage? He did not. He did not. And that grants P6 to Tom Walsh. Bit more points now, but still not enough to stay alive in the championship run. He is inside the DRS window of Scuba. Scuba had a little bit of an acceleration trouble there, but everything is rather okay. Walsh zooms ahead, but not enough to get close to Scuba. Yep, it will just stay this way. Scuba 5, Tom Walsh 6. And the last 2 laps are on. Let's jump ahead for our leaders again. And yeah, just as I said, this plus 3 seconds are the big problem, the major problem for Dominic Walsh, who was actually unable to attack Seymour, although the RS and the fresher soft tires. So just this one moment right after the restart, when they were battling in 3 or 4 turns, was actually the only moment where he was close to his main rival, and he's unable to attack him here. And with his addition of 3 seconds, he will not be able to make up points and retake the lead as long as Seymour does not commit a mistake. And Tom Walsh and Scuba, there's something going on. And Scuba has lost the position, now trying to reconquer it, attacking on the outside, having the inside lane here. Scuba tried to stay safe in this turn. Could have been a bit more aggressive, I would like to say, and then he kept the position, but he has the advantage now that he is in the DRS window in the last lap. So if he overtakes Tom Walsh here, he does not leave him a possibility to counter it. Some yellow has already vanished. And Janne Van de Bryl now attacking Scuba. Van de Bryl trying to get back the position he lost earlier, and he did it. He did it. Scuba, instead of attacking Walsh here in the last lap, has dropped the position. There is maybe a late attack from Mike Taylor on Nico Caruso here in the final lap. Let's see what will happen here, and then jump to the leader and race winner very quick. There is no attack on Hunger Straight, no attack here. And the leader, Seymour, in his last turn here, the last right-hand turn. And he has won it once again. Congratulations once again to the Ferrari crew. And Peter Simpson, P2 to Dom Walsh, and P3, the first podium for Mirko Caruso. Congratulations. In P4 then Mike Taylor, 5 Thomas Walsh, who we will finish the race with, who made up a lot of points in the end, but will rather be out of the championship now. So here's the podium once again. Scuba has managed to bring it home. Start, finish, victory, more or less. Congratulations and the well-deserved champagne. So, this is the final result after penalties. Zemo Peter J. Simpson has won the race in front of his main rival Dominic Walsh. Then in P3, congratulations to the first podium for Mikko Caruso. In 4, Mike Taylor. 5, Thomas Walsh. 6, Jarne van der Bril. 7, Scuba. P8, Grimo. P9, Stefan Williams. P10, Mercyman. And then 11, The Monster, Andrew Mont. P12, Defug. 13, DNF, David Lawson and Gary. And even though we had only 14 drivers, we have just 2 DNFs and 12 drivers crossing the checkered flag. So this is it. We are back to the lobby after another cool race, action-packed race, I would like to call it once again, as always, in the MRS. This was the last event of the year 2020. We will be back next Wednesday with the first event of 2021. Then we will head to the track of Singapore. So next Wednesday, January the 6th, 7:30 p.m. of UK time, the event will begin. The stream goes online always something around 7:20 p.m. Yes, and it was a strange year of 2020, but the MRS has proven that there is still some great time, still some action at the end of the year. Thanks for being with us, not only today, but the whole year. And have a good evening. Have a good start to the new year soon. I hope you will be with us again next week and in the next year. Stay safe in these times and keep racing.